And we're live. We are live. Welcome, Ryan. Nice to have you on the stream. How are you doing? Yeah, man, it's been a long time. I was so busy with work, but I'm excited to start this again. Yeah. Well, yeah. Oh no.
Or is it not coming through?
Now it should be fine.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Does
Oh,
this?
Mick92 couldn't hear me either. There he is. Okay, now they can hear me. Great.
Alright.
I was just saying I'm happy to be here on the stream and that I've watched a few of the Nix Fridays in the past. And been
Yeah, so recommendation, never watch your own stream, because for me it was really painful. Like,
right.
yeah.
Hearing your own voice is always a little bit unnerving.
Yeah, don't do
It's
this.
different than how you hear it in your head.
So yeah, this is the new episode since a long time, and I wanted to. So previously, what I was doing is, showing some next technologies, sharing what I know, and now I want to try something different, and that's why you're here, Ryan, today. Also for our listeners, so they kind of keep up with what's happening. But the principle is, I think there's lots of good things that are happening in the community, and that don't have the spotlight that they deserve. And the reason is, there's lots of noise. It takes time to actually communicate what you're doing, and so I thought, I could invite people like you to come on, and we can have a discussion about the things you're doing in the community.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Good.
And so, yeah, you're the first person, and the reason I thought about you is, you're mostly famous for your nixpkgs-updater bots.
Yep.
And so that's why I wanted to have you here. Maybe we can talk about the updater bots and, what you do in the community and things like that.
Yeah, cool. Sounds good. Yeah. So Nix packages update. That's the bot I made, or the software I made, and the bot is r-ryantm, like a robot ryantm or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was looking yesterday at how many PRs it had done, and so it's made 11,400 since I switched over from using my account to the bot.
Should we take a look? A quick look?
Sure, yeah, you can if you want.
Um,
Or do you want?
yeah, I don't know if you're gonna see some.
Well, you're just gonna look at the GitHub page, right? I can see that.
Yeah. So that's your account, ryantm.
Actually, maybe that's. Oh, when I look at the account, it says. Oh yeah, that's my account. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's mostly just
you're
my
super
own.
active. Yeah.
That's mostly just me merging our INTM PRs when the maintainers say that it's good, right? Because we have a lot of maintainers who can't merge things themselves. So when they get an automatic pull request, they'll say, "Hey, it's good," and then I just merge it right away after I check the diff.
Okay.
It's kind of like an auto merger with me doing it.
Yeah. So there's still a human component to that.
Sure. Yeah. It's a.
And then the ryantm bot is
r-ryantm.
r-.
Yep.
So you got almost 2,000 contributions last year, and the bot did 11,000 contributions.
Yeah.
We were joking before we started that the bot makes more contribution than you.
Yeah, it does. I guess it's not that crazy different though, huh? So it's only 5 times as much.
Yeah.
So it's not like it doesn't feel so bad.
I like the shape here of the contributions.
Right, because it basically just makes one commit and one or per pull request.
Yeah. And then maybe you have some rebases, right? Sometimes.
Yeah, not really, no, because it makes all of its pull requests based on like the merge base of master and staging, so there's not really any need to rebase.
Yeah.
And the changes are so simple that there's like almost never a merge conflict.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Basically, if there's a merge conflict, we just close it and let the bot remake it.
Yeah, it's
Don't
not worth
bother.
to keep it around.
Don't even bother editing it. Yeah.
Yeah. So the bot takes some holidays sometimes, I see.
Yeah.
Does
Sometimes it
he
gets.
is he is he in a union and he's not allowed to work on over the weekend?
Yeah, certain holidays. Um, just sometimes the bot gets stuck doing things. Like recently, we switched over to having it run Nix packages review,
Yeah.
which is a thing that builds all of the reverse dependencies of a particular package. So so that sometimes gets stuck. Like it actually just got stuck recently because I was updating something. It was updating something that had only like a few reverse dependencies, but one of them was Sage, which is a very big math program that takes a really, really long time to compile.
Mm.
So it got stuck on that for like a few days. So really, what I should do is try to identify those ones and like skip them.
Alright, but that's like more advanced topic. I guess people want to know a bit about, what is the bot, maybe if they don't know anything about it.
Sure, yeah. So yeah, the bot is just this thing that makes, basically it just tries to bump the versions of packages. So when software developers release new versions of packages, they aren't available in Nix packages right away. So we'd like to get them as soon as possible and with the least effort possible. So we're going to work on both of those. And basically it only can do really simple ones.
Mm-hmm.
So ones where it's like just the version and the hash of the source. That's basically all I can do. Though lately we've added a couple fancier ones for doing things like Rust and Go.
Mm.
So then it has sources where it gets information about new versions, and then it uses that information to try to update it. So it changes the source code of Nix packages, and then it tries to build the package and see if it builds. And if it does build, then it'll submit a pull request.
Mm-hmm.
And when it submits a pull request, it tries to provide better information to the people that are dealing with it. So like it has, things like checking binaries and creating like security reports, telling you what things are changed.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive, everything that it does for you. Right? Do you want to show an example, maybe?
An example pull request?
Yeah, just...
You could pull up anyone. Yeah, they're all pretty much the same. So if you want to, you could just go to back to the page and click on a contribution or something.
So if we go here...
Yeah.
Oh, here.
Yeah, actually that one's...
Oops, no, it's not there anymore.
Huh, okay. Oh, anyone. That one got closed, but that's alright.
Yeah.
So
what do we see here?
So this is a pull request, right? And so it's just going to be, if you look at the diff, it's just going to be like a simple change, like only like 2 lines changed. So that's what almost all of them are. This one actually failed because this one is a mistake actually. There was a bug that I fixed in Nix packages update that caused this one not to actually update.
Okay, let's pick another one then.
Yeah, sure.
Why is there a fire with this one?
Because it had a lot of comments.
Oh yeah, because it was broken.
Because it had a bug, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I
It was
guess.
like you clicked on the day before, and then that like gave you the bison thing, right? So you clicked on like that one that was like especially.
Like a heavy one like that.
Yeah, there you go.
All
Click
right.
on that one. Yeah, that's an exciting one, I guess, right? Because that's like some core thing.
All right. So if we go back to the diff, now we have
Yeah.
the hash update, so that's good.
Right. Yeah. So this is basically how all of the 11,000 pull requests are. Basically just that simple, where there's just two things going on. You change the version and change the hash. So it can't do more complicated updates like fixing dependencies and things like that. So all those require people to do. But yeah. So then if you go back to the conversation tab, it has this information about what it did, right? So it has a lot of information at the top about, like the description, the meta description, the homepage for the thing. So you can go look at it. It says where it got the version from. In this case, it got the version from Repology. And then, yeah, which is this site for monitoring repositories.
Nice.
So this site has just like thousands of packages and all the versions of them, and it knows how to do things like ignore development releases.
Yeah.
It tells you which repos have what or whatever. So yeah.
So in here we have Nix packages somewhere. Yep. Oh no, it's old. It needs to be updated.
Right. Yeah, that's what it's trying to do, right?
Yeah.
So that, like, you can see it says 3.64 there. That's where it got that 3.64 from.
Yeah.
And then it's trying to get up to the latest version, which is all you can see on the screen too. Magia Cauldron is on the latest one there at 3.71.
Yeah, over here.
So that's how it knows to go to that version, because some other repository came up with that version already and has it in Repology.
That's awesome. So we actually building, even people who don't contribute to Nix packages are helping to keep Nix packages up to date.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, in some way. That's
And
pretty cool.
Yeah, recently we've added other sources of version information too. Like we can directly get from GitHub. So for GitHub ones, can get their releases directly. So we don't have to rely on some other repository having updated it.
Nice.
Yeah, so then there's like these checks, so it can check binaries and things. It also produces a directory tree listing of the output there, like a file usage view for people that want to see that.
Mm-hmm.
Those are gists that it makes for every single one. And then this is like the list of things that are going to change based on this package. But it can't list all of them. It just lists the first 50.
Okay.
It can't list all 122,000.
Yeah, because Bison is really deep in the dependency tree.
Right.
So,
yeah, it's something like rebuild Darwin 5,000 or something there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. So it does that, so it can decide whether to make the pull request against staging or master.
Oh, based
So
on
like
that amount?
Yeah. So like if it's over 100 of those,
Mm-hmm.
it makes it against staging.
Nice. So for people who don't know, staging is so we have master, who's like the branch that is like the Nixos unstable is built from. But sometimes when we have mass rebuild, what we call mass rebuild is our CI called the Hydra is actually rebuilding like more than 5,000 packages for this one. And so we lump these together in this special branch called staging. And then when the staging is stable enough, then we merge staging into master, and then that creates like a bunch of updates. But since they've been built separately, master just goes forward. And the reason is because the channel update is depending on master to have built. And so if we push big changes, it means security updates or other things that have the need for priority don't go, are blocked by the big rebuild, basically. Did I explain that properly, I guess? I don't know.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it's like by putting a bunch of changes into staging, you can avoid doing mass rebuilds multiple times.
Yeah.
Because they all start building at once, and if they were both making one, if there were, say there's two changes and they both make something rebuild, then you only have to build it once instead of twice.
Yeah.
So imagine that over hundreds of things that changed.
So I think it's here because Hydra is actually pulling GitHub for updates. So it's not running on the pull request itself, but actually once in a while it checks the branch, and if there's new changes, it's gonna rebuild, right?
Uh-oh. We're gonna have to wait for the rest of the stream for Hydra to finish.
Hey, Black Quasar is back. He's my most trusted follower. Welcome back.
Yeah, and then we were going through that list of things it checks. I think there's a couple more at the bottom, right? So
Yeah.
this is also with partnership with Cachix, we have these cached binaries of each thing. So like you can use that to test out the thing without having actually built it yourself.
Nice.
Right. So that's especially important for ones that are very resource intensive to build. So you can you can grab that line there and put that particular binary into your Nix store without any other special things. So just run that, and then you can test out the pull request.
So that's if you want to, because the build might succeed, but actually on runtime it could fail, and then that's where some packages, are most likely to fail at runtime, and so you want to test them out, I guess.
Right. Yeah. There's a lot of failures that can happen at runtime, and definitely it's good to actually run the thing and make sure that it does what you expect.
Yeah. We have a question from Adis Bladis, which is, is there a point to ryantm having its own binary cache rather than also using the Nix community cache?
I don't know. I'm not sure. I think it could be fine to do that. I know that is the Nix community cache also in Cachix?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I know that Doman offered to have like unlimited space for or like a large amount of space for Nix packages update. I don't know if he's done something similar for.
Yeah, he's actually
Nix
been
community.
super generous and we have 1 terabyte of cache right now.
Wow. Okay. Yeah.
It's pretty good. I don't know, maybe we can look at that after the stream. Could be an interesting proposition.
Yeah, it seems like it'd be fine to do that. Oh, I guess another potential issue is the like the trust of the keys or whatever, but I guess they're on the same server anyway. So
yeah.
Probably fine.
So for people don't know, but Nix community is a side project. So that's a community-oriented. So this is sort of runs in parallel of the Nixos organization, which holds all the official stuff, and here it's more like an incubator. And for this, my company is funding a build machine on Hetzner. And then we use this to build a bunch of things like the newer packages, which I really want to get Mick92 on the stream to talk about that at some point. But
yeah, sounds good.
All right, so
and also the Nix packages update, our ryantm is running on that server too. So.
Yeah, right. You're closing the exactly.
Yeah. So these pull requests are getting generated by Nix community or on the Nix community server.
So they run, and then Ufborg is actually building this again.
Well, and then for a lot of them, they'll do Nix packages review, but that was skipped on this one because it's too big. It doesn't want to. Yeah, it uses that like 100 package cutoff for that too. So like, if there's fewer than 100 packages in the reverse dependency set, then it'll run Nix packages review and build all of those too.
Yeah. Yeah, so there's a lot of heuristics in there, I guess.
Yeah, and I feel like I have like 20 more that I want to add, so it's like.
Oh my god.
Yeah, just keep keep getting better, I hope.
Yeah.
As long as I have the time to work on it.
Hey. All right. So I guess
Yeah,
people now have a sort of understanding of, you know, what is it about, and
yeah, I was really
how.
surprised yesterday when I was researching those PRs, like how many there were. It was like 11,000 PRs, but then like it was like 10,000 of them were merged. So it's like doing pretty well. It's like over 90% of them are getting merged. So that's exciting.
Yeah, that's super useful. I think there's so much value in treating Nix packages as data, versus code, and that's what you're doing. Is I don't. That's the whole value of having a mono repo. I think is that you can do that sort of things, and
Right.
so it's awesome that I'm actually curious about. I guess one day you woke up and you're like, I want to start this project. I want to learn more about, how did you come to this,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
what was your journey into
Well,
the project?
so I'm a member of the Las Vegas Functional Programming Group, which is just like a few of us that meet in Las Vegas. We used to meet at my work at Pololu. Now we're meeting online, but we're at the group just like talking about various things with Nix, and I was talking about how updating is a pain because you have to basically break the hash, then use like Nix prefetch get to get the new hash, and then stick it in there. So I started writing like a little program that did that basically, um, and it wasn't really going anywhere. But then I heard about Repology, and I saw that, and I saw that they had an API, and then that really clicked in my head. I was like, wait, if we have this list of versions, we can just print out the whole list of versions and then try to fix them in Nix packages. So I made a little Haskell program that downloaded the right the the right versions from Repology, and then I made like a 50-line bash script that just did like grep and sed. So like it greps for the version number,
Yeah.
right? Or it finds the file somehow, and then it greps for the version number, and then just uses like if it finds it uses sed to replace it, and deletes the hash or whatever, right? So it's like really just like two main like core lines. Like it was like just grep and sed on the file to start with,
I like
and then
the contrast where you have Haskell on one side, purity, and then you add bash to it. So you're like, all right,
well,
this is
right,
how you
yeah,
do stuff.
yeah. I guess I wanted to. Yeah, I like Haskell, and I've been programming in it, right? So then also with
Yeah.
the functional programming group that's there. Um, I actually came to Nix from Haskell, I would say,
Yeah.
um, and uh, yeah, and eventually we did port Nix packages update to Haskell. So that happened a little bit later. But like, so at first we just had these commits that were getting made automatically with that bash script. Or actually, at first it was just a bash script that could update one particular file. But then I made a couple of days later, I made it a loop that went over the whole list and just made a ton of commits. And I was at that point manually making the pull requests for them,
Hmm.
and they were very simple. And I think Adis Bladis, who is in the chat right now, is actually like there when that was happening. I think he was one of the people doing a lot of merges, so he was like merging these, and then not long after, maybe like a couple of weeks later, I made it automatically make the pull requests using the hub library from GitHub. So it was just like a few more lines in the bash script. Now we're getting automatic pull requests.
Yeah, that's
So
awesome.
that kind of core thing happened over the course of just like a few weeks. But then
Did you
right, but then
go?
all
Were
this
you in full geek mode and just, with the hoodie?
no, I was only working on it, on in my spare time during that time still too. But yeah, because I have work and family and things. But yeah, um, it's been yeah, just slowly plugging away at it ever since. Like um, a lot of all these things that we're talking about, these checks and things, they've just all come up over time, right? Like so, at first it had none of those,
Hmm.
and then we slowly added more. Like first we added like checking the binaries, and then a lot later we added things like the rebuild reports, like how much it's going to rebuild. Um, yeah, not too long after it started, Jan Tojnar ported the Bash scripts to Haskell because I wanted the project to be in Haskell, but it was like I was so busy editing it in Bash that I didn't really want to switch over yet because
Mm.
basically I was just continuously trying to keep up with all the issues because right when I started it, there was a bunch of issues, right, where the pull requests were bad in some way or another. Eventually, we needed to add like block lists, right, because we couldn't update certain things. Like, it's not appropriate for it to update like um, a lot of desktop managers and things like that because there's already dedicated teams of people working on it.
I see.
So we had to add things like that. But Jan ported it to Haskell, just like a straight port. So it's like the bash was directly ported to Haskell. So it's
Did you
basically
use
like
Turtle or something?
he used a library called Shelly,
Oh,
and just
yeah.
like basically it was like a straight port over where like every line has like a corresponding line in Haskell. So
Mm-hmm.
that's how the port started, and over time I've restructured it to be more like a like a structured program,
Yeah.
but that's been a long time coming.
So at that point, you remember, how many hours per week did you spend on this project?
Oh, I don't know. I can't remember probably, but like I would say at least an hour a night, and then maybe a couple on each weekend.
Yeah,
So I don't know, maybe 10
that's a
or
lot.
10 a week or something. I don't know.
Yeah. If you're not a student, it's a lot. And
Yeah, right.
if you're a
And
student, you're procrastinating on writing your PhD, and then suddenly you have like more hours available.
right. But yeah, I'm not a student, and yeah, I'd say lately it's not as much hours. I don't have as much time probably to work on it as I used to, but
Yeah.
maybe I can get in like uh, a few hours a week on it.
So at
Um,
some point, I remember something changed in the project. You got funding.
oh yeah, yeah. So
Or we
uh,
jump? Do you wanna? I don't know if there's anything in the
no,
timeline.
that's pretty good. I get right before that we added support for updating Python. That was pretty big
All right.
because there's a lot of Python stuff in Nix packages. So that like at first it was doing Python, but they decided to block it because I was creating too many pull requests that were bad. Because yeah, the Python set is like what's the word? It's like highly dependent on itself, right? And they're trying to make this coherent package set where everything works. So it's hard to just bump something that everything depends on. So we started doing Python, but only if it was like only if it's like 25 reverse dependencies or something like that.
Mm.
And eventually we relaxed that. But yeah, then later on in 2019, well, early in 2019, I applied for funding through NLNet, which is they're doing this NGI Zero program. I think it's still going on.
Yeah, I
Um,
think so. They might be a bit paused because of COVID, but they still have projects running at least. I don't know if there's new funding available.
okay, all right. Anyway, it's this next generation internet program that's run by some combination of the European Union and a group called NLNet, which is a kind of an internet foundation.
Yeah, the funds are coming from the EU, so the EU decided they want to create a next generation internet, and so they sponsor things like WireGuard, CubeOS, all sorts of, and also like more simpler projects, a bunch of wikis. Um, they
Like communication stuff too, right? Like
yeah,
chat stuff. Yeah.
and then it's split into sub programs. So one is about privacy and anonymity, I think, and then one is about search. So it's sort of competing with Google and on a smaller scale, I guess. But yeah.
Right. And
So
then like
you got into that
security
program.
too. Right, yeah. So I applied because I had this idea in my head that it would be good for Nix packages update to tell people about common vulnerabilities and exposures, CVEs, that are related to the packages that it's updating.
Mm-hmm.
So the idea was whenever it makes a PR, it would say like, hey, this update resolves these CVEs. And I also made it say that this update might introduce CVEs. So it's possible that a new version can have a problem, right? So
Yeah.
it says it for that too, if there is one yet. That's very rare because usually the updates are so new that they don't have vulnerabilities yet. Yeah, but yeah, so that was the idea. Let's do that. And so I submitted a grant proposal to them, and I think it's very nicely set up for programmers, especially independent programmers, because you just have to tell them like, here's my milestones, and you agree on the milestones, and then you say like how much it's gonna, how much this is gonna cost. And then when you come to an agreement with them, they go, okay, and then you sign some, 2-page piece of paper, and then when you complete your milestones, you tell them, hey, I completed my milestone, and then they pay you. It's
Nice.
very, very straightforward. They wanted, since I'm not in the EU, they wanted me to work with someone in the EU. It's just in terms of how their program works that they wanted that. So I got some help from a company called Sorokel.
All right.
Which,
But they're Russian, right?
I think they're Croatian.
Okay.
I think they're in the EU. Pretty sure that was the point of it.
Yeah. Maybe they have a subsidiary in the EU.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know. It worked out, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm not exactly sure about the details.
So that's cool.
Estonia. Sorry, it's Estonia, not Croatia. Sorry.
I see. Yeah.
Estonia. Sorry.
Yeah, Estonia is this weird European country that's really close to Russia, and they invested into e-citizenship, so you can get a remote citizenship, and you can create companies also remotely in their infrastructure.
I see. Okay. Yeah, I don't know any details about that, but anyway, they were very helpful in writing some Haskell for downloading the National Vulnerability Database,
Mm-hmm.
and then so now we're able to, whenever, that's one of the other checks that you didn't see in that one because there weren't any particular CVEs related to Bison, but like for ones that have CVEs, it'll post there. It'll say like this update, it'll say these CVEs weren't resolved, these ones were resolved, and these ones were introduced. So there's like 3 categories that it can potentially display. And it's not perfect, right? Like sometimes it'll match up with the wrong project, the wrong vulnerabilities. That happens sometimes, but yeah, I have some filtering that we can do to skip them if we need to. But
yeah. I was gonna ask how, because it must be a heuristic, right?
Right. Yeah.
So how reliable is it?
Yeah, I'm not super sure, but I tried to program it in a way that it would be extra likely to have a false positive, right? Like, so basically if any of these parameters match any of the parameters in the database, then it says that CVE is relevant, right? And then hopefully like a human looking at it can go and like, oh yeah, that's not actually relevant. Yeah, like sometimes there'll be things like I don't know, what is it, like Jenkins or something like that has plugins and other things, so it's like the plugin might be vulnerable but not the main thing, and then my thing ends up saying like, oh yeah, the main thing is vulnerable even though it's just a plugin. But
yeah, I think I've seen that for Terraform actually.
Right, yeah, but so I just tried to err on the side of over reporting, that kind of thing. Hopefully someone finds that useful. I haven't yeah.
So basically, so you had the grants. You were working at the time, right?
Yeah, so I only did this on the side. So I just did this like using my spare time that I would have normally spent on Nix pkgs-updater anyway. I just spent it on that.
Oh, you didn't go to your boss and be like, boss, I need to talk. I'm taking 3 months off.
No. It wasn't, the scope of the grant was much smaller than that would have allowed.
Yeah,
it was just a pretty small project overall, only tens of hours, not hundreds of hours. So yeah, But
Nice. But it's
yeah, but
good to
we were
be
able to complete
funded.
it.
Yeah.
We were able to complete the project on time, and Ellen gave us our money, both to Sirocco and me, and yeah, it was good. It was all a good experience, I think, overall.
So are you looking for more friends? Like if you had some more friends, would it allow you to do more things?
Um, I mean, it'd be good to have more funds in terms of just like more build infrastructure, right? Like you're paying for this server, right? It'd be good to just be able to be like, oh, I can, the project can afford that itself, right? So
Mm.
in that sense, yes. And of course, at some point, if you just have more infrastructure for building things, you can do more interesting checks, right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I think we can probably already do this on the infrastructure we have, but like we could run it. Yeah, this lattice says more power. If we if we have more, we can do things like run Nix packages update on like the master branch and on our branch, or sorry, Nix packages review on the master branch and our branch, and then do like a diff to see like which packages got fixed or broken, right? Because like right now when you do Nix packages review, it tells you like, oh, this one failed to build, but that might mean that it was already failing to build before and my update didn't break it, right?
Mm,
So you
okay.
don't know, so like knowing that, or like wouldn't maybe it would be nice if we could actually build Sage in like a reasonable amount of time, and not have it take 3 days or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if
But I
that's
don't know if
reasonable.
that's possible because I think you would need faster CPUs than what exists on the market right now.
Maybe, yeah. Yeah, but so there's that for sure. But
Okay.
otherwise, yeah, I think
Well,
we're good.
if you need, I mean, if you think a second machine could make a difference, I'm happy to sponsor a second machine. But
Okay, thank you.
after two, I think we need to look for other sources of income.
Mhm.
But yeah,
Yeah, yeah. A few people from the community are giving generous donations on my Patreon page for the project. So
that's so
yeah,
cool.
I have a little bit of funding from that too.
Yeah.
That's available, so I might be able to help with that if we need to. Yeah.
All right.
Then after,
So now you
yeah,
have like this updater that's running, and as I understand it, you actually grep for the version and the hash, and then you replace them, right?
yeah, it still does that. Basically, it doesn't use grep anymore. It uses like string manipulation libraries in Haskell. But
Yeah.
yeah, it still basically just does that grep thing. Uh, so that's one of the updaters, right? So actually, this year, someone named Benjamin Hipple helped. I think he's B Hipple on GitHub. He helped like architect like a new system for doing updates in Nix packages update. We have this thing called rewriters. So you can write this like small function that gets stuff like basically it has things like it gets passed in like the file that it's changing and the adder path of what it's changing in the new version, the old version, and then it can do operations on that file, right? And so with that infrastructure in place, we were able to add updaters for Go and Rust. So for Go and Rust, it's a little bit more complicated to update because they have this vendor hash that you have to update too. So it's basically like 3 lines you have to change instead of 2.
Yeah.
So we implemented updaters for those too recently this year. So, or it's kind of the beginning of this year. So now we have Go and Rust support in terms of updates.
So it's generic, right? Like as long as your package obeys to the interface. Should work.
Yeah, we don't care too much about anything about that. We just have some block lists or like a block list for certain things because we can't update them appropriately. Like one of the things you can't update well is like if a package has different sources for different architectures. So like that'll have like hashes for the other architectures, and I don't have it.
It's
It's not
annoying.
smart enough. It's not smart enough to know how to download those different architectures and update their hashes. So like for those ones, we need to block it, and it has various mechanisms for blocking that. Like if it finds too many hashes in a file, then it doesn't do the update. Mix92 is saying, can we get this as a CLI in Nix packages similar to Nix update?
What is Nix update?
Nix update is like kind of like that grep sed thing, I think, that I was talking about. Just I
Okay.
think that's my understanding of it. Like it just does that for one file or one adder path maybe. It's used a lot in the update script. Maybe Jorg can give more details. I might be saying it wrong.
Yeah.
I haven't used it myself, but
So one of the reason I was, asking you to come on this code is, I know the ryantm update works, like it exists, but it was always mysterious, how it operates, and I guess one of the thing I would like to see is, as a package author, what can I do so that the bots can update my packages,
Right. Yeah. So it's pretty, if you adhere to just the simple make derivation thing where you just have one version and one source that you're downloading, then it pretty much just works for all those.
Okay.
Well, one thing is you need to make sure that the source URL is dependent on the version, right? Like if your source URL just is some hard-coded string that has, well, so even sometimes that works because it can replace the version number inside of the HTML URL.
Yeah.
And that will work, but it's better if the URL is like a function of your version, right? So that way when the version gets changed, the URL will get changed appropriately.
Okay. Do you want to show an example, maybe?
Yeah, sure. You can just pull up anything. Like Bison had it, I think. Right? So
alright, I should.
reopen that.
Do you want
if
me
you
to
have
do
it
it?
still.
Okay.
I mean, I can do it if you want.
Yeah, let's go for it.
All right, so.
Let's see your setup.
Okay. Yeah, sure. Let's just go to like. All right. Let's see my setup. You mean like see my terminal or something? All right, let's do that. All right. Let's see. We go to Nix packages, top level, all packages. Okay. So we were just looking at Bison before, right? There's Bison. So, oops. What did I do? Did I delete everything?
Alright, we already lost half of the crowd because you're an Emacs user.
Yeah. Is it too small too, by the way? I don't know.
I don't know. Is it too small?
Make it bigger. All right. Right, so here's Bison. So it has this version here, and then the URL here is dependent on the version, right? So it's right here, you can see. So if we update this version string here in the file, then when we try to build this package, it will look for the version it will look for the new version, right? The new version on the GNU mirror. So that will work. But if for some reason GNU had something where the versions weren't equal and it was just like some arbitrary string here that was not the version, then it won't work. And there's definitely some packages that are like that, where you just have to like somehow know that too, right? And
yeah. Sometimes you have to replace the version string with something else as well, right? Like replace the dots with underscores or something like that.
Oh yeah, right. So there's a solution for that though. You can use the replace strings.
Yeah.
Right. So.
Alright, so if I do a package which just changes the source like that, that's fine.
Yeah.
But let's say I have something more complicated.
Then it's probably not going to work, basically.
Yeah.
So like, if you're using like if statements with multiple hashes in them, it's probably not going to work. Sometimes you can get around this kind of thing though. Like if you take that and put each of those architectures in their own file, then it can potentially do it. But Nix packages update doesn't know anything about like trying to build on different architectures right now, at least. So it only tries Linux 60x64 or whatever, right? So
Yeah.
Replace strings. Yeah. This is all over the code, right? You'll have this thing like replace the dots with underscores.
Yeah.
Because the people will use underscores in their Git tags instead of dots. Maybe they have to, I forget.
No, I think it's just some people.
Yeah.
This one is specifically weird because the V is in uppercase.
Yeah. But anyway,
I think if GitHub would enforce the shape of the version, so it would be nice. But yeah.
Yeah. There's all these crazy things, right? So that's. But yeah, these are all going to be okay, right? Because they're using the version in them, so it should be okay. Yeah, a lot of things are okay in that respect.
But you said before that there's a update script that you can write.
Right, yeah. So there's this pass-through.update script. You can define this thing called pass-through.update script, right? And so that's just a thing you can define that lets you. It's like a script that's going to do the update for me.
Okay.
I just only very recently have I started using updates, detecting update scripts and trying to run them. So that's like that's kind of experimental at this point. But if a package has an update script, we're trying to run them, right? So that's like a whole different. So that these update scripts, some of them so there's like a specific one already available for Ruby. It looks like here. So that one's going to probably do stuff like update these gem file.lock stuff, right? So there's like similar things like that for all the different. There's like a bundler up. There's like an update script for GNOME and other ones too. So there's like a whole bunch of these update scripts that exist. So getting those to automatically run and actually work well is, I think, a good or pretty exciting.
Yeah, that's super interesting because I've been maintaining the Terraform providers, for example. And these.
Do you use update scripts?
No, I don't know how to use it.
Okay.
And I think I would have to write a custom one for this one.
Okay, yeah. And there's actually quite a few custom ones that are inside of Nix packages. Yeah, but if you have this update script, then you can just do arbitrary things, right? So your bash script can just, usually people write them in bash, but I guess you could write them in whatever language, right? So.
Well, the worst thing, I have the update script, but it's manually executed, basically.
Yeah. Well, if your script just runs on Nix packages, then maybe you can stick it in there.
Yeah. That's the good news. Because basically what I do is once in a while I run the script and I have a massive update, that has it pulls all the latest version of the providers, and then I'll do a big commit with that.
Yeah, one of the problems with I'll switch back to my screen, I guess. One of the problems with Nix packages update though is it only operates on like one package at a time, right? So like it doesn't have any knowledge of like a group of packages.
Okay.
So like if you wanted to update all your Terraform providers in one go, then it wouldn't do a good job at that. It would just make like all these little commits, one for each one, right? So probably depends how your update script works. I haven't really seen what happens yet, but I'm hoping that we can have it so like if someone has an update script that kind of runs a batch of things, that it actually just makes a pull request for the batch of things. I don't think it's going to do that well yet, but maybe eventually we can make that do it well.
That's what that's why my update script does actually is. And you need the GitHub API key because it's hitting the rate limits. Basically,
yeah. I have a GitHub API key on the Nix packages update, so it should be okay, I think.
Yeah.
It says, I'd love to hear more about debugging the updating of my packages. Yeah, that's something I can share a little bit about. Let's switch to. Let me bring up the logs. I'll share it. Log. So Nix packages update. Can you see it okay? yeah, it has these logs. They're at ryantm.com/log, and then I'll post that link in the chat too, just in case. Or it's probably easier for people, right? And then, yeah, so these are just all the logs since we started running on the Nix community server and doing the logs well. So so here's the logs for this thing, and yeah, it's so you can see it's running these update scripts now. Then we could look at like if anything has succeeded today yet. No. Yeah, I was thinking it might be interesting to go look at that bison thing in the logs too, just because we've been talking about it.
Oh yeah, let's do this. It's oh, did you find it already?
Yeah, I searched for Cachix because it only says Cachix if it succeeds because it's putting in Cachix.
Okay.
Yeah, so here in the logs you can see it says, okay, we're going to try to update bison from this version to this version, and we got the information from Repology. And then here, these things that are in square brackets are the rewriters it's trying to do that I was talking about earlier. So first it tries to do the regular version rewriter, and it says that it succeeded in updating the version in the SHA. So then it tries the Rust one, and it doesn't try, it skips it. It tries the Go one, it skips it. It tries update script, it skips it because there's no update script. Then after the rewrites, it shows the diff. So this is what it's going to change. And then after that, it tries to build it, which I guess it succeeded, so it doesn't really output anything. And then it pushes it to Cachix, and then it outputs the pull request, like the markdown for the pull request here. And then what does it do? I think that's the end, basically. Post the link to the pull request. Then it says success. Yay. Right, so then I guess we can just look at this next one that failed. So here's one that failed. It says failed. These derivations weren't built. So this one's saying the requested URL return not found. So it tried to download the source of the project from this URL, and it turns out that URL doesn't exist. So then at that point it just gives up.
Yeah.
Actually, it might try again with like slightly different version numbers sometimes. Like if it'll do stuff like if it gets like if you try to give it the version 4.0.0, it'll try like the version 4.0 and the version 4 by itself. Just because sometimes some projects will chop off the zeros if it's just zeros in the version. Yeah. All sorts of little gotchas like that to go on. But yeah, so anyway, you can like, so if Make-Fu is wondering whether some of his packages, why they're not updating, he can try grabbing around in these files to see what's going on, to see why it's failing. And there's like 100 different reasons why it's failing, so it's not, you kind of just have to look at the error. But if someone has an error and they don't understand what it is, then talk to me about it. Just send me a message on GitHub or whatever, and I can try to help you.
Yeah, and you're not alone on this, right? You said we a lot of times. So there's
yeah, there's a few people that are helping with Nix packages update, and then of course lots of community members already there's a lot of people that understand how it works too, so they can help usually. Like a lot of people know about what breaks the updater and stuff like that, so they can help you.
What's the best place to talk about the updater?
I'd say just the GitHub page for it. So github.com/ryantm/nixpkgs-update. I can show that page.
So yeah, I can show it.
Okay.
Yeah, that's here. Just gonna post a link.
Someone's asking, does the updater work for Discord?
Oh yeah, I have that question. Because this morning Discord. So Discord is weird because every time they new release, you have to update. Like they don't do API backwards compatibility, I guess. So you just have to update your Discord.
Yeah, that's frustrating. Yeah, so recently I noticed that some of the Discord packages have updater scripts. So I noticed that like Discord Canary, for example, it had an update script. So maybe it'll work now. I don't know.
Yeah. So that's the answer, guys. You have to write an update script.
Yeah, if your thing is too complicated and you can't simplify it, then you need to write an updater script. Yeah, I guess that's the answer right now. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if there's a documentation on how to write update scripts, though.
Yeah, there's a little bit. I don't know it that well, but I can show a little bit, I guess. So like, I think it's under. Where is it under? Like, build support. Actually, yeah, I'm not too sure where. Maybe it's under. There's some stuff under maintainers. Yeah, scripts. There. Oh, maybe someone in the chat can help.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Help.
there's various updater things. Let's see if we can.
Because
Anyway, it's not gonna really help
one thing
much,
that's tricky is it needs to know the attributes path to itself, which is a bit weird.
Yeah. Well, anyway, yeah, there's definitely. Yeah, I think here's something that'll run. Yeah, so you do scripts, Nix shell, maintainer scripts update.nix, and then this will do all the ones for which you are the maintainer, all the ones that have update scripts that you are the maintainer of. You can also do a particular package.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. So, okay, to answer to the chat, here you would you check out Nix packages, you go to the top of the repo, and then you run Nix shell maintainers /script /update.nix --args package, and then just Discord, and that would create the updates.
Hopefully, yeah. And then you can, from there, make a commit and a pull request. So these update scripts are not supposed to make commits, though a few of them do. But yeah, the interface of them is they're not supposed to make commits. They're just supposed to edit the files.
Yeah, but at least they can test if the updater works, for example, without... Like, that's a good way to test the bot as well, indirectly, because if the update script works for you, then it should work for the bot.
Right. Yeah. Well, it has a chance of working with the bot. So the update script thing is still experimental, so there's probably issues with it. Or actually, I know of one, for example, like that app, the one we were looking at earlier, where it didn't update the SHA hash.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's one that exists.
Okay, so how often does ryantm works? Like, how often do you get new versions? Like, conceptually, what is the mental model that we should have about the updater?
So it's always running. So like, or pretty much like, if it finishes, it starts like the next morning, basically is how it works. So it's pretty much always running. And it tries to download from a bunch of places and then do updates. So it's continuously doing that in a loop, and occasionally it gets stuck. In terms of updates to the software of the updater, that's just whenever I do it, right? So we'll make commits on that Nix packages update repository, and then when we want to deploy it, we go ahead and deploy it to the server, and then it's restart the updater basically, and then it goes and does it. In terms of like latency of things, like Repology has kind of bad latency because it only it only can grab stuff from the channels right now. It doesn't grab from the master branch, right? So it can only know what version we're on based on the Nix packages unstable updating. So if Nix packages unstable gets locked, then that'll slow down the updates that are coming from Repology.
Okay.
Yeah, but it just keeps going and doing stuff.
So I guess you could add a mode that just tries all the update scripts and see if there's an update.
Right, yeah. Yeah, that's a good idea. So that would be another mode
Yeah.
that we could add. Like I don't know if there is one that does all of them. Because there's this thing that says which maintainer you are, do all of them. So, um, yeah, but maybe we could, that seems like it's probably likely that we could easily modify this to have just an all version.
Yeah. There's
Then
a
try
old
running it.
maintainer that gets added to all the derivations.
The trick is though that uh, the update scripts don't do any commits, and you still need to figure out how to separate out the pull requests too, right? Which is I think something that's maybe not it's not doing well right now, right? Like if the update script runs and it updates like 2 things, it's probably going to create a pull request that says it only updated 1.
Mm.
Yeah, so we need to do more work on that front, but
Yeah.
yeah, people are asking lots of questions in the chat. Updater script. I'd love to put in a PR to learn more about Nix package update. Okay. Non-free things are updated. I don't care. Just do everything. I hope that's okay with the Nix community people. It does unfree stuff.
And so the bot doesn't auto update itself.
Oh no, it's not in Nix packages actually. That's something that's yeah, maybe it can be in Nix packages now, but for the longest time it was running some weird set of Haskell packages that it only worked with those.
Mm.
And like I have it pinned to a particular version of Nix packages too,
Yeah.
right? So I've been hesitant to actually put it into Nix packages itself, which is kind of sad, I guess. But
I know Hydra
I
was
guess
not in Nix packages for so long as well, so
that's
know.
sort of like what Elko is talking about, right? Where you just like need flakes or whatever to
Yeah,
compose
maybe.
to compose things. Maybe I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I should probably try to get it in there. So maybe I can try that at some point. Let's see.
Oh yeah, maybe.
Are there stats for successful updated, currently failing, PR open merged? No, we don't have any. Well, the PR open merged we definitely have because that's on GitHub, right? So there's like currently like 200 open and about 10,000 that were merged the last year. But currently failing and successful update we don't have, and that's something I want to do better with the logging in the future.
Mm-hmm.
So that's like I want to be able to tell maintainers like if you go to this URL, you can see all of your packages that aren't updating or whatever. But I don't have that yet. Shouldn't be that hard to add, so hopefully that can happen pretty soon. Yeah, I guess it would be good to have this total stats, or just even a list of the ones that are currently failing. Yeah, that'd be good.
Yeah, like a heat map of packages that are out of date. Or not out of date, but that haven't been touched for a long time.
Mm.
And then
Yeah.
that could be useful both to see unmaintained projects and if the updater doesn't work.
Right. Yeah, that would just be a general thing you could do on Nix packages and not something specific to the bot necessarily. But yeah.
So someone, Dunker Kirot, is asking if you got any inspiration from Dependabot.
No, I hadn't heard of Dependabot until like a few months ago even. So no, I guess is the answer to that.
But that
cool
opens
too.
the question, can I run the updater on my own repo?
Yeah, that's a good question. I
have a company monorepo, with a bunch of packages in there. And then I want to keep that up to date.
So maybe if you claim your mono repo was Nix packages and stick it in the right spot, it might work. If you follow like the exact same conventions of like the adder path set in the top level as Nix packages, if you do that, then yeah, maybe it would work. You'd have to like basically claim your repository was Nix packages and stick it in the right file location where Nix packages update looks for Nix packages, right?
Yeah.
And of course, you'd want to turn off PRs because those are always going to Nix packages directly. So it would be weird. It wouldn't work, I guess. But yeah. Yeah. So I think there'd be some stuff to change, but it would be pretty simple, I think, to change to work. Yeah.
People who want to do that, they should fund your work, you know.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not too familiar with how much like private Nix stuff is going on like that, but if there is stuff, I'd be interested
it's
in
tricky,
talking about
right? Because like companies are using the binary cache, for example, a lot. I think the people who use the most bandwidth are companies because they put it in CI and then all day they push new stuff and it gets pulled from the cache.
Right. But I think most people will have their own internal binary caches, right, for reducing latency and things like that.
Yeah, but even if you have cachex, actually cachex doesn't store the things from Nix packages. Or, please correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it tries to not download from... So it sets its priority lower than Nix packages, meaning, or higher, I don't remember, but basically Nix will first look at Nix packages and then if it doesn't find it, it will look into the repo.
Yeah, I think that's right. Yeah,
and
so companies are still hitting cache.nixos.org a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
so
right.
all these companies are hitting the cache.
Yeah. So hopefully they're sending money back to the NixOS Foundation.
Yeah, I think we should plug the Open Collective. So just 5-minute break. You know, we should have a jingle right now. You should go to opencollective/nixos. No,
that's what it is.
That's not the right one.
Or you can go to nixos.org and then click donate.
Yeah, if you go here and there's Open Collective here. So we set up some plans, and I'm not sharing with you, Ryan, but hop. Yeah, we have lots of people contributing actually, like 161 here, 108 here,
awesome.
And then there's 4 companies sponsoring €50 per month, which is arbitrary, you know, but I actually asked Ilkrid Draper to set this up, and then no company has, you know, made a proper donation. So this is €450 per month. Is on a personal level, it's a lot of money, but as a company, this is not even, you know, you might spend more on HR systems or just, you know, it's not even half of a salary, it's nothing. So, yeah, if you're a company, I encourage you to make a donation, because that pays for the infrastructure. Alright.
Yeah. Right.
And we're back to the show. Welcome back after this short break.
Yeah. Well, I think it's getting... Yeah, we're kind of getting close to wrapping up, maybe, I think, right?
Yeah, we spent 1 hour and a half, which is pretty good.
Yeah.
Is there anything you want to...
Any final questions, we can answer them, or whatever. I guess I can talk about...
Any projects you want to plug? Maybe, you know, other projects, people...
Oh, yeah. I definitely want to plug some people. Yeah, like there's... Like, Nix packages update is only possible because people are actually merging this stuff in, right? So, like, there's these people that are just merging tons of stuff in. And I want to name a few people that I know are merging tons of Nix packages update stuff in. So that would be Mario Rodas, whose username is Marsam, and John Ringer, and Frida. They're all, like, merging in tons of these ryantm PRs, like, you know. Mario Rodas is doing, like, I don't know, 10 a day or something. He's just always doing so many. So I want to be just, you know, very grateful for them.
Yeah.
I don't have enough time to personally merge all the ryantm stuff.
Like, yeah, it's incredible.
I couldn't do that and make it, right? So it's great that there's all these other people that are helping. So thank you for that. And then yeah, thanks to everyone who's contributed to the project and helped fix stuff and helped contribute features and stuff. There's quite a few people who have made awesome features to it over the years and added stuff. So thanks for that. Yeah.
All right, that's a wrap, I think.
Okay, cool. Thank you for talking with me. Appreciate
Yeah,
it.
thanks for your time. It was super interesting.
Good. Yeah. And if anyone has any questions, feel free to, ping me on GitHub or email me or whatever. Yeah. Happy to give people answers to their questions.
All right. See you. So everyone, see you next week. I don't know what the topic is gonna be yet, but I will find someone to talk to. Bye.
Cool. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone. And stop.